Hello, everybody. Whoa, my dimensions are super weird right now. I don't know why. OBS has been very strange, so I apologize for looking like I'm in a movie theater or in a movie. OBS has been giving me so many problems lately. I'm not even gonna lie. Ever since I updated it, it does weird things like this. So, greetings, everyone. I'm gonna see if I can mess with it and fix it, but in the meantime, how's everyone doing today? It's beautiful. It feels like fall here, which is really great. It's my favorite time of year. I guess technically tomorrow is fall. Yeah, weather's amazing, except it's going to be in the 80s later this week, so not really understanding that. Gosh. OBS, why do you hate me right now? Sorry, I'm just trying to fix the black bars around me for anyone who's just coming in. Normally not an issue, but today it's an issue. Yeah, it's really weird. It got so cool here that I actually woke up in the morning and the house was like 64 degrees and I was like, what is happening? But yet it's going to be 80 later this week. But that's okay. It got me in the mood. I took a walk to Starbucks, and when I did that, people already had Halloween decorations up, and I got so pumped, and I was like, this is my cue to start decorating. So I didn't do a lot. I just put like a wreath up and like a little fall thing. I promised Peter we would do it next weekend because he thinks it's too soon. Let's see. Hi, Karen. Hi, Twixie. Hi, Queenie. Andy. Andy, why are you banned? Hi, Damien. Wait, you got banned on my Discord? Because, like, people swear in my Discord all the time. So, hold on. That shouldn't get you a ban. Well, we're going to test something out. We're going to see if I change my settings. Is it going to reflect in my live stream? I don't know. I might break something right now. But we're gonna go with it. If I break it, I apologize. Did that change anything? Let's see. Oh, that's worse. We are not keeping that. Okay, we're going back. We're going back to... Let's try this one. This is so fun. I'm just messing around with settings in my live stream right now. I'm sure this is really exciting for you guys. It's so funny because there's like a lag. So I'm like waiting to see what's happening right now. It's actually really funny. All right. We're just going to have to live with it today because, like I said, I don't know what's going on. I updated OBS and it broke on me recently. Anyway, first thing I wanted to talk about is Disney War, which is our book club book, and it is a doozy of a book. And so I don't know about you guys, but I'm just finishing chapter 4. I have a hard copy and an audio book copy, so that I can like listen to it when I go for walks or I'm gardening, but then I can also sit and read if I want to do that. It's kind of nice having both. But God, there is so much to that book, and I understand why it's Rob's favorite book. So he raves about this book all the time, and it gave him a lot of his video ideas because there is so much information, right? But it's going through it so quickly. And he said he would sit there and be like, oh, what about that thing that was mentioned in a sentence? How can I elaborate on that in a video? So yeah, it's really dense. There was a few things that stood out to me that I thought were really interesting, but I do like that it starts with Eisner and his time at Paramount. before he came over to Disney. It talks a little bit about what was going on over there and his decision to leave for Disney, and kind of the films he was involved in. I didn't know that he was the one who kind of pushed for the original Indiana Jones, or at least he pats himself on the back for pushing for the original Indiana Jones. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that he was the one who like greenlit that. I think it's also interesting to see the slow unraveling of like him and like Katzenberg. Not quite there yet, but starting to see some of the disagreements that they're having and all of that stuff. There was lots of little things that were like so interesting to me, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Apparently Harrison Ford was originally supposed to be the lead, and I can't even imagine that movie with Harrison Ford. Like, it's just, I mean, maybe, I guess. I feel like it makes me think of that Cool World movie with Brad Pitt, which is a whole other level of live action animated movie, and it's awful. But I couldn't imagine him in that role. And then I also thought it was interesting that when they were trying to find the host for The Wonderful World of Disney, when they brought that back, that Tom Hanks was actually really interested in doing it. But Eisner said it couldn't be him because he was too young. And I could kind of agree with that. I mean, I'm thinking about how old Tom Hanks would have been at the time. And I do think he would have been too young. And so Eisner said he would do it himself. And it's weird because I grew up with that. Like, I grew up seeing Michael Eisner introing all of the movies. And, like, we would tape it on VHS sometimes. And, like, I have, like, a taped version, or I did, I wonder if I still have it somewhere, of Mary Poppins. And it has Michael Eisner introing Mary Poppins. Like, it's so weird that became such a part of, like, my growing up as a 90s kid. But also was such a point of contention for people internally who felt like he was trying to be the next Walt. Especially Roy. Roy took a lot of issue with that. And then the last thing I guess that was super interesting to me was when they talk a little bit about Disneyland Paris. And apparently, I mean, the conversation was Paris or Spain. They were thinking Barcelona. And I knew this. I remember hearing about this briefly. But it was interesting for them to talk a little bit more about it. And, you know, there were some people who wanted Spain because they felt like the government would be more open to it. Obviously, we ended up in Paris, but I kept thinking to myself, what would Disneyland Spain look like? You know, like how different that would have been if they went with that idea. I probably would have gotten by a little bit better because I know a bit more Spanish than I do French. So if I had ended up going there last year, I probably could have muddled through a lot better. But I feel like the architecture would have been quite different. The rides themselves would have been quite different. It's kind of like weird to think that there's like some alternate universe out there where Disneyland Spain happened. That's how I like to think of it anyway. So yeah, those are just like, I mean, such little parts of a very dense book, but they just stood out to me because I like the idea of like what could have been. I feel like I always like thinking about that. Like, what if one little decision made was different, and how different movies or a park or whatever would be. But it's good. I mean, right now, so I'm towards the end of chapter 4, and Little Mermaid has come out and been a big hit. I didn't realize that Oliver and Company was such a big hit. I mean, I love that movie, but I feel like now nobody cares about it. But at the time, it did really, really well, and apparently surprised all of them that it did really, really well. So, and now we're at the point of them screening Beauty and the Beast to press, and all of that good stuff. And it was nice to hear, like, I don't know, just about Alan Menken coming on board because that man is just brilliant. But yeah, I would love to know if you guys are reading it, what your thoughts are. I'm going to catch up a little bit here on the chat. Just finished chapter 5. Okay, so I'm not too far behind you. It's good. That's good to know. Is this all information I could get from Rob? I mean, I don't know. I feel like he goes even more in depth in things, but it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of information. I've had an interesting time reading it because I read Eisner's book on my own before reading this. I haven't read Eisner's book yet. And I'm sure there are some things that are a bit contentious between both of them. Like, I'm sure Eisner has a certain point of view of how certain things went. Most of it's similar, but it's interesting some of the differences between his version and this version of events. Of course, right? Everyone has their own point of view on how things actually panned out. Queenie says, to be honest, weather-wise, Spain would have been better, but Paris is fine. Well, they actually bring that up, and they were like, well, it's actually... Eisner was like, well, Paris's weather is pretty much similar. And it's like, and he was like, well, people in Tokyo are still waiting in line in really cold weather, so they'll be fine in Paris. That was like one of his arguments, was like, if they're doing it in Tokyo, they'll do it in Paris. Disneyland would have been a little more wacky with a little more flair. I kind of agree. If it was in Spain, I kind of agree. And Twixy Shorts, to your point, the Spanish actually wanted a Disneyland for one. Yeah, the French were really upset when Disney came there, and they felt like it was like sullying their culture, and it was too Americanized, and like they didn't want anything to do with it. So that's really interesting. Paris's proper winters. Spain would have been much better for weather. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Best Disney movie set in the other New York. I don't know if it would be worth it after reading Disney War, since a lot of it is the same. Reading Eisner's book is what you're saying. I mean, I'd want to see what he has to say. Do you think he nicked Universal's idea for a movie park in Florida? I mean, it's interesting it's funny because I feel like Eisner was he was more invested in the movie side of things. But apparently was very excited to work on Disneyland Paris, or at the time it was called Euro Disney. But I mean, even when you see some of the changes that he brought to Disney World and like the parks here, I mean, I think it's always been clear that like he came from Paramount, his passion and his know-how is more in movies, and he was doing a great job. Like there was a point where he was like very able to foresee hits and where money should be invested. I don't think he always did the best thing for the parks, but he did give us Alien Encounter, and so I will praise him for that, even though I'm one of the only people who loves that ride. And I agree that it probably fits more in Universal than it ever did as a Disney ride, but I still love it. And I love that it was a Disney ride. To be honest, Paris Disney is very refined, but I almost feel like I would have liked the Spanish one better just for the whimsy. Totally agree. I think it would have been a little less, yeah, I guess refined is the word that you use there. But Paris is so beautiful. Like, I couldn't get over how beautiful the park is. And I'm talking about Disneyland Paris proper, not studios. Let's not talk about that park. But God, it's so beautiful. And I think that Barcelona would have been too, but I don't know. I mean, you just can't guess. Hi Ariel, thanks for joining. We're talking a little bit about Disney War, which is the current book club book that we're reading, and it is a doozy of a book. Normally I would do a live stream halfway through a book, and then we do that, and then we do a wrap-up review. But this book is so huge that I feel like it's gonna require multiple sections, because it's really intimidating. But so far as just the way that it's written goes, I really like it. I think it's done really well. I think it's not, we've read some books in the past where I feel like we've been a little bit like, oh, this jumps around too much. This is a little bit confusing with timeline. You know, because it's really focusing on Eisner and Roy and Katzenberg and like a very specific group of people. I don't feel like it's been too crazy. I feel like it's easy to follow. I feel like it's just so far written very well. So I'm really enjoying it. Hero says, if I remember correctly, Spain thought they for sure would get the Disney park so much, so they didn't give the tax breaks Disney wants. Queen says, Paris is beautiful, but like as someone who's been to Spain, I think Barcelona is one of the prettiest cities in the world. I've never been to Barcelona. I've only been to Madrid. I do really want to go to Barcelona. But yeah, I've only done... We did Madrid and Morocco. We did Marrakesh for a trip. So I said my Spain, Morocco part 2 trip, I want to be Barcelona and Fez. Because both of those countries are very big. And so to do a lot of them in one trip was like kind of impossible. So Spain, Morocco part 2. Maybe I'll get to Barcelona. The audiobook is 26 hours. Yeah, I know. I was saying I have both. I have the hard copy and the audiobook, so that depending on what I'm doing, I can go to, one version or the other. And when I opened up one of the chapters, I was like, oh my God, this chapter is like an hour and a half. It's crazy. But I am enjoying it. I felt a little intimidated by this book for a long time. And I know some people requested it for a long time. And I was like, should we do it? But now I'm kind of glad that we did and that we're getting into it. Karen says, Barcelona is much prettier than Paris. I think that Paris feels more romantic and appealing to U.S. guests, though. I mean, maybe, but to be fair, we are not like the number one tourist in Disneyland Paris. Like, I was such the odd person out when I went. And people like... Even the cast members were like, whoa, you're from America. Where are you from? Like, I don't think that they get nearly as many as Americans as they do people from the UK or Spain or Italy, which I saw a lot of because they're all over there already, right? It's like the equivalent of Disney World. It's like your regulars are going to be people who can get there easily. Whereas people from the UK or Australia, especially, I know who go to Disney World, it's like a 2-week big trip and you don't make it all the time, right? So I think vice versa, there just isn't a lot of Americans that go to Disneyland Paris. And it was really funny how excited people were. They would talk to me, I would talk to servers and stuff, and they just wanted, and cast members when I was buying stuff, and they just wanted to, and how's Disney World, because a lot of them haven't been in Disney World. They wanted to know how I felt it compared. It was actually really funny to feel like I was the minority tourist in that park. Queenie says, I need everyone to know that I just Googled Barcelona to look at pictures of it, and I only got photos of the sports team. Yeah, I could have told you that would happen. I don't even want to think about travel right now because I can't, and I just want to, but I cannot. And neither can any of us. Oh my God, Jackie, hi! So happy to see you here. Yeah, I felt the same there. You're an American, right? I feel like they were so, it was so exciting for them for some reason, which I thought was really cute. But yeah, it's weird when normally you go to other parks and it's like nobody even bat an eye at you, right? Barcelona's also on the ocean. Is Paris on the ocean? No, checkmate. I agree, but I do think it's really cool that Paris has basically its own, Disneyland Paris is basically its own train station. I thought that was the coolest thing because I took the train from the airport and I was like, oh, I don't know where I'm going, whatever. And I met this wonderful couple from Scotland, actually, on the way there. And we get off, and I walked out of the train station. I was like, oh my God, the parks are right here. I thought that was the coolest thing. But to your point, it doesn't have an ocean. Jackie says, so I started this book, but I'm not far in. I need to catch up. We were just saying it's a doozy of a book. Normally I do these live streams at the halfway point of a book. I am just finishing up chapter 4. It is so much information. And I knew this was going to be one where I was going to be I'm going to have to give people 2 months to read this book because it's just so much more than any of the other books that we've read. But very, very, very much enjoying it. Karen says most of my UK Disney friends don't like Disneyland Paris, and it's funny to see us all get excited about it again now that we can't fly to the US. See, you took it for granted, and now you love it. Can I ask why they don't like Disneyland Paris? I would just be like, are they friends who have gone to like Disney World and Disneyland in America and just like that better? I actually love Disneyland Paris. Again, the park proper and not as a whole with the studio side, because God, the only thing worth it in that park is Crush's Coaster, which was phenomenal. The live action show that I saw, I think Mickey and the Magician is the name of it, was also really good. And that's it. I mean, they got Tower of Terror, but it's the same as our Tower of Terror, so it was just like, whatever. But Disneyland Paris proper, I really fell in love with it. I really did. I guess I also went in with low expectations because I feel like a lot of people give it a lot of, like, I don't know. They're just very critical of it. So I think I was actually surprised how much I liked it. Toxie Shore says, when I was a cast member, the Brits tended to trash Disneyland Paris. I mean, also to a point, and this is something we've talked about before, when Disneyland Paris, I mean, it was run and operated not by Disney for the longest time. And so I think there was a lot of negativity around how it was run and cleanliness and cast members, guest service, and all of that. And when I went last year, I mean, at that point, there had already been that kind of like transition. And I felt like the guest service was on point. I felt like my experience was great. But I only experienced it recently. So I can totally understand why people might have not liked it prior, because it definitely had a lot of issues. Book spoiler, Disney buys everything. Yeah, I mean, true. Isn't Disney World getting a train station in a few years? I thought some company was building a line between it and the airport / other major cities in the state. It's been talked about. It's like, to me, the equivalent of that is like what we have up here in New York is like, people have talked about a train line that goes through, or like almost like a trolley line that goes from Queens to Brooklyn. If you've ever been to New York or lived in New York, you understand that for some reason, even though Queens and Brooklyn are literally the same landmass, it's like incredibly hard to get from point A to point B for some reason. Like, you have to like go through Manhattan to get to most places you need to go. And so that has been talked about for years. And the train station in Florida, not as many years, but has been talked about for a few years. And to me, they are like the equivalent of like these great transportation ideas that I don't know if they're ever going to get off the ground, or it just might be a lot more years before we see it. But yes, there was discussion of a train station, which I think would be super neat. I'd prefer that. I mean, I don't know. I like the Magical Express. It's free. But like, if I'm going to pick bus or train, I would do train any day. And if the train's going to be faster, I would definitely prefer that. See, Karen says there's a reputation for being dirty and having rude cast members. Yeah, I think, like I said, I went after Disney came in and said, okay, we're going to operate the park instead of like a third party. And I did not feel like it was dirty at all. I did not feel like anyone was rude at all. But again, that's, I'm sure things have kind of changed a lot since they took over. I've heard Disneyland Paris' Big Thunder is the best. It's amazing. It's so good. I think I wrote it 3 times? I wrote it a lot of times. I was blown away by their Big Thunder. I wish I could just pick it up and drop it into the US because it was really good. Let's see, Virgin is in the process of building a train from Miami to MCO with a Disney stop. That's dope. I've never been to Miami, but funnily enough, my dad loves going to Miami. Like, he literally would book a trip every year to go to Miami. He loves it there. And so it would be really cool to expand the vacation and then to just say, I'm going to hop on a train and get down there instead of having to like rent a car or something. Let's see. Queenie says, I think train is how you get to Tokyo Disney. I think you are correct. Gotta also add that to my list of places I really desperately need to go. Damien does this. He says, so is Paris Space Mountain the best? Depends on what you want out of your Space Mountain. I like going upside down. I like launches. I like crazy coasters. So I adored it. But if that's like too intense for you, then I feel like, I don't know. I mean, Disney World's is classic, and we all know how I feel about Disneyland's. It's not great, guys. Sorry. There are aspects of Disneyland Space Mountain that are good, but it's not the best. No. Hunchback Dark Ride to Disneyland Paris when? That would get me back there again. And that would be like the only place that I feel like a Hunchback ride would like maybe work. But then I also wonder, do people of Paris like Hunchback? I don't know. I've never really like asked anyone from Paris if they like that movie or not. So I don't know. Karen says, yes, Big Thunder is incredible there. One of the best things about Disneyland Paris. The Dragon Under the Castle is the other. I agree. I feel like that, Phantom Manor, and Space Mountain were like easily my favorite things. But I also really, really love the walkthrough attractions. I think it's so cool that they have so much of it and kind of breaks up your experience a little bit. Jackie says, I lived there. Oh, right, yes, you used to live in Miami and moved to Orlando in January. We've wanted to train forever. I know. Like I said, I think it's like, I feel like there's so many places in the U.S. that are like, yes, here are these amazing transportation ideas. We're just going to talk about them for 20 years, not actually implement them. Much happier living in Orlando, but I know lots of people would love a train connecting Miami and Orlando. I think it would be great for people living there. I think it would be great for tourists who want to do both. Therefore, it'd be great for Florida as a whole, more tourist money. If you've got people who are just like, cool, I can just hop a train and go to Miami and kind of do everything in one big trip. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. Queenie, I didn't know you'd been to Tokyo. Cool. And Queenie says, I've been to Tokyo Disney twice. I didn't know that you have either. I'm really, really jealous. I just checked it. Station at the Orlando airport is supposed to open spring 2021. I would imagine Disney would want it so you could take a train from World to a cruise ship. Yeah, because I think the drive's like an hour. Maybe it's a little less to Port Canaveral. Because, you know, I was supposed to be on one of those last week. And we mapped out the drive from Rob's place to Port Canaveral. I don't want to talk about it. I don't know if it's going to open spring 2021, given everything that's going on right now. I feel like there's so much budget cuts on so many projects. Like, I'm not just talking about park projects, like things like transportation, that I don't know if that's really going to happen. It'd be cool, but... Then again, they were working on LaGuardia Airport over here for a really long time, and that wasn't supposed to open for a while. And then because nobody was flying, they said, hey, we can bang out the rest of this job. And it actually opened in spring of this year. So who knows? Damien says, what? My feelings are hurt. Disneyland Space Mountain is awesome. You know that's my home. Hey, I respect your home, but it's a toilet. It's like flushing a toilet. That's what the ride does. It just kind of goes down. There's no real big drops. It's fine. Oh God, you're making great jokes here, Jimmy. That's super enthused. Seems so enthused about Orlando. Happy that Beast Castle still opening. Tokyo looks so good. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous of that Beauty and the Beast ride. Like those animatronics, like the video that has come out of that is amazing. Very, 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 very jealous. I mean, I guess it works out that, like, let them open all those cool things there now, and then by the time I go, I don't know, let's just have more cool things. Like, that's the way I see it. I really do want to see Disney Sea, because everyone says how amazing that park is. And I've seen, like, photos of it, and, like, it's unreal that it's even a Disney park, I feel like. It doesn't feel like it in a lot of places. But... The castle is beautiful. I absolutely agree. I just love the like new castle designs that are like kind of coming to fruition as they're like working on this stuff. Not to hate on any of the originals. I still haven't obviously seen the Disney World repainted one in person, but it looks really, really nice. So I do like that. I mean, I also liked what they did for the 60th for Disneyland. There's the one big dip on Space Mountain that the music telegraphs. Also, the aesthetic is overall cooler than most other mountains of space. The queue, no. Sorry. The boarding area is cooler. The queue's not that great. I think the queue in Disney World is much better. The boarding area is cool, and I think it's neat that you do sit side by side. At least it's just something different. And I will also say that Disneyland gets points for not being incredibly hard to get back out of the vehicle, because I don't know about you guys, but I always feel like I literally have to like crawl out of Space Mountain in Disney World, because you're just sitting so low and like so in there, and like when you pull up to get out and you know how the ground's like right there, I just literally want to crawl. Like maybe one day I'll just do that and see what cast members say to me. Let's see. I got a coworker to go to Disney Sea last year. That's how much I talked it up. I mean, that's a big and expensive trip for me, but it's on my list. Like I don't want it to always just be on my list. Like I really want to make it a reality. I gotta just like pick a year and say that's the year I'm gonna go. I don't know, 2022? I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there. Let's see. I fixed the soundtrack issue for Disney World, but that will have to wait until post-virus. Disney World Space Mountain is like Matterhorn. I've only been on Matterhorn once, but I can agree that it is very similar. Though Matterhorn is a little bit more, what's the word? Backbreaking, at least for me. Like I felt like I needed a chiropractor after I got off Matterhorn. But I can agree that they are similar. Network 1901, good to see you here. Yeah, I said I would go in like 5 years about 2 years ago, so that's my deadline. Yeah, I think, guys, I just need to do that. 2022, does that make sense? 2023, I need to just like put a year. I'm just gonna write a year and a post-it, slap it to my monitor, and that's gonna be the year I go to Tokyo. And then Peter's just gonna be like, why do you just randomly have this sitting here? No context, not gonna write Disney Tokyo or Disney Sea on there or anything. Just a year. Let's see. Matterhorn is older than Disney World. Space Mountain too, so Matterhorn hurts. It hurts so bad. That ride makes me feel more like I'm gonna die than Disney World Space Mountain, and that is saying something. Paris honestly needs to go back to Mission 2. I mean, I like I'm not gonna lie, like I like the Star Warsy Space Mountain. I thought it was dope. I mean, it's kind of hard to understand what's going on because it's all in French. Except I do understand that Yoda said, "May the Force be with you" in French, even if I couldn't understand the French, which was kind of mind-blowing when you realize that phrase is so common in pop culture that even if you hear it in another language, you understand what you're hearing, right? 2023 gives you plenty of time. Yeah, that's true. And probably more realistic amount of time, right? I was going to go to Disney Paris in 2021 for my 50th birthday. Then 2020 happened. I know. That's how I feel about a lot of things. I mean, I was supposed to be, let's see, I had a Disney World trip, a big, long one, booked for April of this year. That got the kibosh. And then I had my first Disney cruise that I was supposed to go on with Peter, Rob, and his girlfriend last week. And then that got the kibosh. And then what else was I supposed to do? There's like a third trip or something this year that I had to cancel. Yeah, it's pretty awful. It's pretty awful. Let's see. How hard is it to get around Tokyo if your knowledge of Japanese is non-existent? Because that's my main worry. I mean, I can't answer that, but I'm going to let Queenie answer that. Who says, let's see. I love that some phrases are so well known they translate to any language. Oh, yeah, we're talking about the Paris thing. But yeah, I mean, I can tell you from someone who went to Disneyland Paris and doesn't know a lot of French, I did okay. Though, admittedly, some rides are confusing. Like, you just don't understand everything that's being said. Some of the rides had a switch back and forth between English and French, so you got somewhat of a gist. But yeah. Can we please just stop retrofitting Space Mountain with stuff that make no sense with the setting? I agree that the outside of Disneyland Paris' Space Mountain still gives you a Jules Verne vibe, and then you go and you're like, oh, Star Wars. But their Star Wars overlay is fantastic. So maybe they just need to change the outside. But if they did that, people would be all in uproar. So if I remember correctly, in the mid-2010s, both Universal and Disney looked at possibly buying SeaWorld. If Disney did, we would get a fifth gate that could be rethemed to Disney Seas. I think there's too many fans, though, of actual SeaWorld for that to, like, fly. Traveling Soldier, thank you so much for the super chat. That is really kind. What's your view on Cali Parks not opening? Poor leadership or being overly careful? They have Florida as a model, so I thought they would base it off that. I think it's government. I think when you look at the governments of Florida versus California, quite different. How they sort of decided to open back up, or I guess in Florida's case for a long time they weren't closing, is very different. So I don't think a lot of it is in Disney's hands. I think that they are being kind of dictated down to, and I do think that it is a bit overly cautious. I think it's fair, given that California had cases, they were getting a bit better, and then they had the spike, and now they're getting a bit better again. I actually have a friend who just moved there actually in the middle of all this craziness, and she said it is getting better, but I think it's just a matter of really government there. I have a feeling Disney themselves are ready, and they probably know exactly what they're going to do. The things that they're going to implement, because like you said, they're doing that in Disney Worlds, but you know, it's just different. How things were handled was just really different. Let's see. You can get around. I've had a few friends go and they said it was easy. We're talking about Tokyo. The hardest part was ordering food and knowing what's what. I mean, I guess you do have Google if you do like a travel plan. I am a big fan of that. You know, I normally used to say, I'll live without my phone or whatever when I travel, but I have Verizon, and Verizon just lets you kind of do that roaming international, I think $10 a day, and it's a lifesaver. So I would highly say that, or a SIM card if you can, and then you could just Google your menus. Gavin says, I live nearest to Disneyland, so I've ridden Matterhorn hundreds of times. And it's gotten worse over the years. You need like physical therapy at this point, but it's still fun. I mean, I agree it's still fun, but you got to prepare yourself to like feel awful the rest of the day. Hopefully we'll have an announcement of Disneyland tomorrow. Newsom and Josh D'Amaro were here Friday. Yeah, I think this week we're going to see something for sure. Let's see. Both times I went, I had a guide, but a few times we walked around without one. If you do your research, you can figure it out. Also, a lot of Japanese menus are in pictures. It's good to know. So to order, you just need to point. Fun Disney fan says, if you had to come up with a plot for a Haunted Mansion TV show, what would the plot and main characters be in the show? I want it to actually be kind of spooky, like not too spooky that kids couldn't watch it, but I'm thinking like Supernatural or Buffy the Vampire Slayer levels of spooky, whereas like some of the episodes are really creepy, but some of it's more tame. And I probably could do Monster of the Week, or I don't know. I mean, because I wouldn't want it to be like just like a lighthearted like we're a family of ghosts living in the Haunted Mansion. Like that'd be so lame. I don't know. Maybe we explore more of the stories of the characters that are actually known, like the Gravekeeper and the Bride, and I don't know. That's a big question. I can't come up with like full main characters. But I think those would be like, I think you'd want to lean on what people know. It's like Madame Leota and stuff like that. I'm supposed to be at Disney World for 4 weeks right now. 4 weeks sounds amazing. I wish I had that much time to go be at Disney World. I know. I keep thinking like I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be there. It's the worst. It really is. I miss Disney World so much, you guys. I haven't been since December. And realistically, it's probably going to be into next year. And it's super lame. And I want to get down there. All right. Let's see. When ordering food in a foreign country, just point and pray. This is kind of true. Oh my gosh. I remember when we went on our honeymoon, we were supposed to go to China. We were supposed to go to Hong Kong for a couple of days. The short version of that is my honeymoon got delayed because of really bad snow here. So all we did was like lay over in the Hong Kong airport, and we went to order ramen, and there was chicken ramen, which I was like, great, I'm allergic to pork and beef, so this is perfect. I will get that. So I get the chicken ramen, but the broth still had pork in it. So even though like chicken was the main meat, it was made in like a pork broth, and then I couldn't eat it. So again, point and pray is definitely true when you're in a foreign country. That was really disappointing. I love the Verizon International Pass. So much easier than having to debate upgrading your plan or not. I totally agree. And like, I don't know if Verizon's the only one who does it. I don't know what your carriers are, but I would look into what they do. You literally have to not think at all. It's just like you let your data do its thing, and they will send you like a text message and be like, okay, we've turned on like your international roaming, $10 a day. Now, if you have days where you don't want to use it at all, I would just like set my phone to airplane mode, and then it wouldn't charge me that day. So it doesn't have to be consecutive. It's such a lifesaver. And especially like I did it in Paris because I went by myself. Peter met up with me 3 days later or something like that in Paris proper. But God forbid anything were to happen, it's much easier for me to just have my data and be able to call him or call anyone else that I need to. So especially if you're traveling internationally solo, I highly recommend just having that as a backup. Queenie says, I love sort of a family show in the style of older, more serious Disney TV shows like Boy Meets World, where a family moves into the manor. Then the girl meets ghosts, had adventures, and helps put them to rest, while also making friends with a few of them. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Fun Disney fan says, I'm going to Disney World this weekend, but it'll be interesting being in a sold-out Magic and Hollywood on Saturday and Sunday. Weekend are hard to get park passes, but weeks are easy. Speaking of going, and I'm a little late on my editing on this, but tomorrow I have a video going up of speaking with my friend Sean, formerly of New Orlando, and he went Labor Day weekend. And so he gave a very interesting and honest point of view on how that was, especially on a holiday weekend. Both on like how he feels like some of it's blown out of proportion in terms of it being unsafe, but also how there's definitely people and blogs out there who are just like, it's Disney, everything's perfect, and that's not true either. So that'll be up tomorrow. So if there's anyone who is thinking about going sometime soon, I think it'd be a video worth watching because he's just very honest about it. He had a great time, but he's very honest about what that Disney experience is right now in the middle of a pandemic, and how it's not the full Disney experience, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad experience. Yeah, it was really, really interesting conversation for sure. And also he said it was completely empty for Labor Day, which normally, any holiday weekend, especially in the fall, is usually packed. It'll be really interesting to see what Thanksgiving's going to be like. One of the biggest weekends they have. I think that's going to really be telling for what the rest of the holiday season's going to look like, for sure. So I'm going to be just keeping an eye on that, because I'm curious to see, do we see people finally like biting the bullet and going anyway, or is it going to be really, really quiet? Let's see. AT&T has the same pass, $10 a day. We're talking about the international pass. I think it's great. It's such a great thing to do. So were you able to reserve the PS5? I got screwed by Best Buy. Oh, Damien, I'm sorry. I have to wait till the next pre-order cycle. First of all, David, I always love that you come on here and talk video games with me, because I always say there's something that I'm equally passionate about as Disney. It's video games. I did pre-order a PS5. Yes, I was successful. I actually pre-ordered 2. One was from Walmart, and the people were like, oh my God, Walmart is knocking people back to back order. So don't trust them. We don't know what's happening. And I went, oh my God. And then I pre-ordered on Target. I did not get pushed to back order in Walmart, so I assume all is well. And then my brother told me he couldn't get a pre-order, so I'm giving him my Target pre-order, essentially, being a great sister. So, but yes, I did get to pre-order PS5. I am very excited. It comes out the week before my birthday, so happy early birthday to me. Yeah, I don't know, guys. That's just gonna be my life from like November, December on. Fun Disney Fan says, in my ideal Haunted Mansion show, there would never be living human entering the house outside the groundskeeper. Focus on the backstories of the various ghosts and connect them to the bride story. Love that, because you know how much I love the bride. She's my favorite. What if the Disneyland sing-along Grim Grim Ghosts, but as a full season of 22-minute episodes? Okay. Fun Disney Fan said, did you cancel your annual pass? If not, why not? And when do you plan to return, considering the timeline looking like vaccine will be widespread till March? I am planning to make a video on this answer, but the short answer is I did cancel my annual pass. And I will talk a little bit more about that in the video coming out and what made me come to that decision, but I did. When they were like kind of pushing those emails that were like, you got to do this in the next couple of days to get your money back by September, which I don't even know if I've gotten the money back yet. I made that decision. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of heartbreaking, but it was the right decision for me. Let's see. Demonic Animatronic says, what if it's like a Bones crossover where they try to solve all the ghost stories and find the bride's victims? Interesting. No, I have not played Among Us. Fun Disney Fan. I know a lot of people are talking about it, though. It was like trending on Twitter the other day. But I haven't played it yet. Gosh, I have so many games to play. I'm actually playing this game Vampire, which Jimmy, I don't know if you're still here, Jimmy, recommended to me. And I had been eyeing this game since before it came out. But then when it came out, the reviews weren't great. So I waited till it was on like super duper sale for like $15. And I actually enjoyed it. It's got its merits. The combat's awful. But the actual like story of the game itself is really great. Let's see. I will continue to say, can we get a Halloween Horror Nights maze based on Night Trap? Classic game. Good Night Sweet AP. Yeah. That's sad about the AP, though it sounds like the right option for you. Yes. I mean, it was going to be, I bought it in December with all of the extensions. It was supposed to be extended to April. So you can see why I thought maybe it wasn't really the best idea to keep it, because I just didn't think it was going to get used by April. Jimmy says, I'm here. Glad you like it. We should talk video games again soon. Always. I'm always open to talk video games. My personal Haunted Mansion show would be kind of Twilight Zone style show, explaining how each of the 999 happy haunts died. Easier to get major actors for guest spots that way. That is a great show idea. I like that a lot. And I think that there's a lot of actors. There are actors who are just Disney fans and who I think really like Haunted Mansion. So I think it wouldn't be hard to get some people in on it to be able to like play a classic Haunted Mansion character. It's a great idea. No more sweet resort and dining discounts. I mean, if I can't use them right now, there's kind of no point in me having those discounts. That doesn't say I won't get an annual pass again in the future. I just knew that it just didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense for like when it was gonna expire and the next time I would actually be going down there. Yeah. So, sorry, I'm just trying to catch up. There's so many chats. You guys are the best, but it's like so much going on. Among Us is only $5 on Steam or free in the App Store. I will look into it. I don't really know much about it, but I'll look into it. Like I said, oh my god, my Steam backlog is like scary. I feel like that's just what happens with Steam. They have all those sales, and then you're like, I need to buy all these video games. And then you're like, I now own 300 video games, and I've played 20 of them. If you had to rename the podcast, what would you rename it to? Whew, I don't even know. Like, it's weird. I feel like the TTA podcast just fits. I don't know. Probably something a little bit more, like, funny or something more based off of some of the inside jokes that we have on the podcast. But I don't know. The TTA podcast is just, it's just the right name. Thank you, The Traveling Soldier, for the super chat. Stay safe. Have a great rest of your weekend. Andy says, okay, so for the Haunted Mansion show, let's do the exploring the ghost deaths. But actually, it's 1,000 ways to die. And in the last episode, they just come to our houses and kill us. But now you're going to have way more than 1,000 ghosts. Because that's everyone watching suddenly gets killed and becomes a ghost. A friend of mine has a Steam library of over 1,700 and has played less than 100. Oh gosh, that's definitely worse than me. I think my Steam library is in the 300s. I can't tell you how many I've actually played. If you had to close a ride that ended up in the top 8 of the bracket, what would you close? Oh my gosh, I don't know off the top of my head who is in top 8. Oh wait, I might actually have that information somewhere. Let's see. Because when we were talking about it on the last episode, oh, I do have the top 8. There you go. If I had to close one of the top 8. Oh, that's easy. Probably would be Journey of the Little Mermaid, which, yes, did make our top 8, I believe. Doing all the counting here. Yeah, I feel like of all the rides that made it up in our bracket, and the bracket we're talking about is a bracket that Rob and I did on the TTA podcast, Journey of the Little Mermaid would be the one I would miss the least. So, there you go. All right, guys, I have 5 minutes, so hit me with whatever, your thoughts, your questions. I don't know what you're doing for the rest of the day. Just hit me with what you got. It's so nice out. It's like crazy. I really want to get all my Halloween decorations up, but it's too early. Let's see. How did Journey make it into the top 8? I don't know. I guess it was just like what it went up against. The game show game. This is a new live game show on YouTube. I'd love to have you on a special guest. I would love to do... I actually just did an episode with Josh from Network 1901 of one of his podcasts that he's on. That'll be out next week. And we did a game show. And it was a ton of fun. So I'm always down to do more game shows. I'm not great with my Disney trivia outside of, like, parks, though. Like, I always get nervous when people are like, we're going to talk about Disney in the 60s. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, if you're going to hit me with, like, weird live-action movies back in the day, I'm not going to be able to handle it. Let's see. Queenie says I did a bracket to figure out the best dark ride specifically. I mean, Haunted Mansion would just win that, right? Damien, thank you for being here. And I hope you can also be at Disneyland soon. And I hope I can be at Disneyland one day soon, too. Journey. Wait, let's see. Wait, what won the best? JTM? JTM. Why am I... Journey of the Little Mermaid was your best dark ride. Not Haunted Mansion? If you had to choose between a park trip or a cruise, what would you pick? Right now, a cruise, because I've never been on one and I'm still bitter that we missed out. So we are planning to reschedule that cruise. Just when is a matter of how the world is in the next year or so. And I always like doing something new. So Karen says, should I go to Disneyland? The answer is yes. It's always yes. We need to make a game show for the TTA. I'd be interested in that. Thank you for coming, Jimmy. Let's see, Fun Disney Fan says, have you seen Mulan? If so, what are your thoughts? I have not. Did not feel like it was worth the high price for just me to see it. It'd be different if it was a movie Peter would want to watch, or if I had a family and it was a bunch of people are watching it, but the cost didn't make sense for just me. However, I hear some contentious things about it, so I don't know. Will I watch it when it just comes to Disney Plus? Probably. Damon says, Karen, I'll say wait till 2021. I'll say that about every park right now. Wait till 2021. Let's be real. I don't think that it's worth going this year, personally, unless you're a local and you're fine with there being less to do and more of the restrictions. But I wouldn't tell anyone else to make a trip to the parks in 2020. Thanks, Damien. Your borders are still closed, so I think it'll be 2021 before I can go to the U.S. anyway. Yeah, womp womp. This travel thing, man. My Haunted Mansion show would be the ghosts trying to scare humans out of the mansion like Beetlejuice. And each week, different kinds of people will come through and pose a different challenge to scare them. I like that. There was a video game like that. Oh my gosh. I just had the weirdest deja vu. It was an NES video game where you were a ghost and you had to possess things in a room and scare people. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to Google this later. You know when something just clicks in the back of your brain and you're like, I know this thing exists. Whoa. Anyway, I want Disney to make a live action Anastasia. They own it now. I was never a big fan of Anastasia. I'm not gonna lie. Of the story or anything, but I get it. Somebody's ringing my doorbell. Oh, it's Amazon. What'd you give me, Amazon? I don't know. I can't remember the things that I order anymore, which is really sad. Oh, it could be more Halloween decorations. Guys, I have a problem. Yesterday was International Talk Like a Pirate Day, so you missed your opportunity to download it illegally. Haha. It was also Batman Day, wasn't it? I think yesterday was Batman Day. I'd be more apt to celebrate Batman Day than Pirate Day. That's just me. Yes, you can DM me on Instagram. That's totally cool. I will keep an eye out for it, and I'm so down to participate in a game show. Yes, oh my gosh, you're right. It is on the Genesis. Thank you. Thank you for, oh my gosh. Thank you. That's just I was I know this game exists. It's called Haunting. Man, that was weird. Childhood nostalgia. You might have a problem, but your house is going to look amazing. Yeah, I was I might have to vlog us decorating because it's going to be pretty intense. I bought some new cool stuff, and I'm really excited about it. My neighbor's going to think I'm insane, but I don't really care. We need a photo of all these decorations if you're putting up as many as you made, it sounds like. I mean, I buy them all. I don't make them. You know who makes all of their Halloween decorations? My brother. And he does an amazing job. He used to theme his house every year to a certain theme, and so he would make the decorations so that way you're not buying decorations you're only going to use 1 year. And they're crazy. He should just make my decorations, actually. Okay, anyway. Fun Disney fan says, vlog. Yes, I love Halloween too much. I need to get into the spirit, so I will take you guys on that journey with me. And having a house makes it so much better because you get to do so much more cool stuff. Okay, guys, I do need to wrap this up, but thank you so much for joining me as always. If you are kind of behind in Disney World, don't feel bad. It's a really big book, and we might have to do another live stream somewhere in the middle to discuss more of it because there's so much of it. But I appreciate you guys hanging out. And yeah, we should do this again really soon because it's been a little while and I like doing these. I don't know why I'm so bad at like getting these scheduled. I need to be better. I need to be better. Okay. Love you guys. You're great. Have a great rest of your weekends. Let's celebrate fall tomorrow, officially starting. Woo, and have a great rest of the day. Bye.